iPhone?
Uh-oh. Nope, hang on.
Yeah.
All right, technical difficulties. All over the place. All right, let's try this. USB video. Not that one. And standby. Okay, you're live.
Okay.
Sorry.
Welcome back, everybody, to Barr Run Forge. It is indeed 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you are here with said Barr Run Forge, being Eli over there, and
Hi.
myself, Troy, and we've got a host, a plethora.
Dare I say.
Dare I say, a plethora of wonderful guests here with us this evening, and they've already been explained to them that they are no longer guests. They've been here already, so they're no longer guests. They are family. They are part of the group here. We're letting the fire crank back up. We've been here. Well, I haven't been. They've been in here working in the shop and working on some stuff for a class that they're going to be doing at the Goshen Historical Society School of Blacksmithing this weekend, and I think it's going to be making a TV tray, right? Is that what they call it, TV tray? So they've been making some tooling, things like that, and I'll let them introduce themselves, but it is an honor to have all three of our friends here with us here this afternoon. Fire
If that's all right.
back up, so we're going to work on that here in just a little bit. But Corey says he can barely hear.
Yeah, now we're not getting sound very well. I don't know what's happening.
Double technical difficulties. I blame Ed.
What?
I blame Ed.
It's not good with technology.
Ed, are you one of those people, like, when you walk by something, it goes staticky?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
It's got a little bit of alien in here.
I don't know what's happening.
It's because both microphones are on?
It shouldn't be. Both of them are plugged in. Am I on the right? Check the. Make sure I'm not in the headphone jack, please. I swear, if that's the issue, I'm an idiot.
Out.
I'm in out.
Check.
Is it in the right spot? Is it in the right spot on the back there? The microphone.
And the pink one.
That's the one with the microphone underneath it, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So you should be okay.
Oh goodness. I don't think so. Oh goodness. Dad, say something.
Say something, he says. Say something. I've been trying to say something.
Make sure you-
Is it working now?
Possibly.
Okay. Well, there's a nice moving. See if we can get it cranked up a little quicker.
I'll make sure that that's coming from you.
Hit it with a hammer. I like your moving when you talk. That's all I can tell you. Yeah. I like your moving.
Ooh. Wow, that's really loud.
Receiver turned on. Thank
Yeah.
you, Adam. Aussie. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but it's really fuzzy for some reason.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting on some of that, if you can't hear me at all, we're going to say hello to our friends in here. Eric, Pumpkin Patch Ford.
Ironworks is another Eric. Mr. Crawford.
Yeah, that killed it.
Dragonstone Gem and Ford Ironworks. And Kyle Jones, Dana Majoria, D.E. Mag, Adam Speargrass Ford, Aussie. Roger Caldwell, Ben Toombs, hey Ben, and Corey
Check. Come on. What is happening?
And I think I got everybody in there. Who's in here. Norman, Ohio. It's very nice, isn't it?
The weather is very nice here in Ohio right now. It's a little humid today because it's been raining finally, but it feels pretty good. Sounds like walking in a hall. No idea why.
Yeah. For some reason it's catching like it's almost like it's just a single channel and it's very, very like sharp and loud. There's not a whole lot of like bass or anything catching through it. For once, my mic sounds great.
All right. Well, anyway, we do have some friends here with us. Again, we're trying to work the old board back up. The code came quieted down some, so we're stoking it back up after we filled our bellies full of those who've been here before. Series pizza, Grippos, barbecue potato chips, and L8. Three great tastes that taste great together. That's the way to do it. So we're glad to have them here. They're going to work on some stuff. I think Hannah is going to do a subscribe. All right. Making sure I'm getting it right. And there may be some other foraging going on as well.
Make sure that's not it.
It's not far away, guys.
Check 1 2. Check. Check 1 2. Check check.
Rob says he misses the cuddles. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. Ben Toombs is cuddling with people. I guess he's cuddle size. Maybe. There's Mr. Pete Fields, like kings. He knows how that works. So anyway, can't hear him again. If you guys can still hear me, hopefully things aren't checking out on us. I know I've got signal, battery life, everything seems to be okay. So
I don't understand. Don't understand.
The best laid plans of mice and men off to go awry.
I guess try just one of the lapel mics.
The what?
Try just one lapel mic. We had. Okay.
What kind is this?
He said fatwood.
Oh, okay.
Full of the sap, so it lights and it smells good.
There's heat down in there.
That's imported from Mississippi. It's the good stuff.
Smells good.
Yeah. That's nothing.
So, comical lapel. Gee, that's a PTZ.
100 years ago by a friend of mine, my grandparent, great-grandparent. No kidding. Wow.
Huh.
And I'm just chucking it in on the fire here. Okay.
I don't know if that's better or not.
Are you figuring it out, Eli?
Trying to.
Hard stuff. That is hard stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is a.
From the roots, so it's
Okay.
a little tougher. That's where all the fat goes. Fat.
Oh, make it sawdust.
I think I left a Hardy up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another way to get it.
You all right?
Yeah.
Got your arm? No. Cramp your arm?
Still cramping.
Ah.
Okay.
We'll help it out a little bit. Maybe we're gonna help it out a little bit.
Don't know what's happening.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bar Run Forge. It's Troy, and today's video sponsor is...
Have you ever had a stair crumbled up, torn apart, shiny forge weld, and wondered whether you should have had neutral flame or an oxidizing heat? while searching for your favorite toilet spoon to pour on some white powdery crystal metal glue? Well, that's what it's like when you don't have Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux. When you grab a hold of a box of Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux, you feel like you've put the power of Hephaestus in the palm of your hand. And now you may even muster up the gumption to forge scroll work without even using a hammer. So pick up a box of Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux today, before you fall into a state of utter chaos that'll have you questioning your very existence. Flux.
Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux is not a registered trademark and is not available in 49 of the 50 states, especially in that state up north. Buy yours now for just 12 easy payments of $29.95, payable only in quarters.
Caution, Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux may cause severe irritation to Roy Adams. Please avoid using the words Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux around Roy. Do not use Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux in the vicinity of Roy Adams, or he will be forced to tackle you to the ground and bludgeon you. Avoid saying the phrase flux, flux, flux. It will only anger Roy Adams and throw him into fits of temper and force him into a Roy rant, and no one wants that. Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux may cause eye irritation, runny nose, skin lesions, bad hair days, poorly fitting fire chaps, rheumatiz, slicing golf shots, uneven tire wear, pixies to appear, rickets, hammer toe, volatile screaming fits, unusual beard growth, ingrown toenails, silly songs with Larry, a mess, a giggling Jessica, and definitely not better Forge Weld. Please use responsibly.
Christ-centered Ironworks brand flux.
I put that on everything.
I've never gone straight in the computer. Well, that's a mystery.
Quite a mystery. Alright, so what you got? Is that USB line in?
USB,
Okay.
but you have,
Is there a line in for it?
well, this is the main controller.
Okay.
These are the wireless mics.
Okay.
So this will need to go to your PC.
That line isn't like a direct aux line. That little cord on the side here.
Might be. Never used it. I record with my iPhone, so I just plug that straight in. But
I don't have an open USB port, so that's why I'm wondering if that'll work with that.
it might. We can give it a try anyway.
Yeah. Let's give her a shot.
But hang on. Turn her on.
Power button on top.
Yeah, just hold it until.
And then we took a lunch break.
That's exactly what happened.
Are you starting the fire with that lump charcoal?
What's that?
Are you starting the fire with that charcoal?
Yeah. Yeah. Test.
Should have to. Give her a check, Josh.
No. Test.
It's coming off there. So sorry, everybody. Let's see. It should be. Try now, Josh.
Test.
No.
And you don't have a USB open?
No. here? Hey. Promise we're going to get a show and a fire going.
Really, really promise this goes better.
All right, are you reading it? Line in, code C. I don't think that's it. No, that's me. Dang it. I think I found it. Now let's see. Give a test.
Test. That looks like it's it.
I think we got it. I think we got it. All right, I'm going to mute my mic and see.
Can you see? Here. All right. Okay. Thanks, Josh.
Josh to the rescue. Woo! Everybody give it up for Josh. Woo!
All right. Take two.
Here, hold on. Let me hit the opening video
Yeah,
real
do that
quick, and we'll
again.
just restart. We're back.
Welcome back, everybody. To Barr
only 20 minutes into it. 6:50.
6:50, not 6:30.
Just pretend it says 6:30.
So it is. We're closer to bacon time than we are the beginning time now. So
Yeah.
we're trying to get fire back going. We got Josh jumped in and took care of our microphone situation. So praise the Lord for that.
Save the day.
And looks like we're finally getting some heat rolling here. Hopefully that we'll be able to get back in the forge and go. So anyway, we have some very special guests tonight, as we've mentioned. And I think one of them at least has jinxed our electronics. I don't know who that would be, Ed. But we're here. We're having a great time. We're having a fantastic time. It's just been a wonderful afternoon hanging out together. We got a few other people that jumped in. I see Gordon from the Gaming Ham, Chaz Walker at Al Forge. So good to have everybody in here. And we're at least throwing sparks right now, so that's a better sign, I guess. It looks pretty.
Yeah.
I think you put about half a bag of lump charcoal in there, didn't you? So anyway, Gary Graham, hello, how are you? Brian at the Vineyard Farmhouse, Metal Man, hey Kenny, how are you? Like I said, we've had a great time this afternoon. All three have just come in here and made themselves at home. It's just been a wonderful thing to watch, just picking up tools and doing the thing and having a great time. We've traded a few things. Some things have been made to be left here in the shop. A big chunk of something getting ready to go be made into something. We don't know what that's going to be at some point in time, any point in time. I don't know. But we've got one state to add to those that have been in the shop. But Josh has been here before. Josh is from Oklahoma. And Ed resides in Oklahoma as well. And we have a Brazilian, not a Brazilian, a Brazilian, an actual Brazilian here in the Forge. So we've got another country to add.
He's a double Brazilian, though.
Double
What's that?
Brazilian.
That's true, double Brazilian.
Brazilian squared.
Yes. So he's going to come do some forging for us here in just a minute. And
Once we get a
even
fire
though he
going.
only makes hammers, from what I understand, I didn't believe it. That the only thing he ever makes is hammers, but that didn't make sense to me. All right. I think
Get
we've
a
got more
fire
than
going?
sparks in there. I think we actually may have a little bit of a fire going, so you can keep an eye on that. But again, we've got some fun coming up. Next Thursday for the live stream will likely be Elijah again by himself, because
That's me.
I will be in Metamora, Indiana, and I'll be staying there with, we should have all our gear there for that weekend at Canal Days. So if you guys are in the southeast Indiana area and you want to drop by and say hello to us or check out a really neat festival, so to speak, come on by to Metamora, Indiana, not too far from Brookville, and come hang out with us. If you are interested in taking a class to learn how to do this TV tray that's going to be demonstrated or seen here in just a minute, I think there's still a few spots open for that class this weekend, is there not? Okay, good. 3? Okay, so there's still 3 spots available to take the class in Goshen, Ohio at the Historical Society School of Blacksmithing. I'm going to say hi to Will at Athol Ironworks. Great to have you in here, buddy. Just have a great stream. See you guys next week. All right, we'll see you later, buddy. So anyway, there's that. We're going to be in Metamora, Indiana next weekend. The following weekend, we're going to be out with a group of people from the church camping. Then we have the Village Christmas coming up. We've got, we're going to be at a place called the Sons of Toil. It's a local brewery in our area that has invited us to come over and demonstrate blacksmithing and sell our wares. So it's going to be a... It's going to be
Turned into Mario there for a second.
Yeah, it's going to be... It's going to be a hectic time.
Yeah.
And a fun time. So, Krena, I think there's some fire in here now, buddy. And we're going to turn it over to them here in just a minute. We do remind you all of the stuff that we talk about if you so want to tell them all about the stuff. And there's John Burnell.
Yeah, do stuff. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. Do all the stuff. Check it out. Facebook and Instagram, TikTok and Rumble, and of course, website www.barrunforge.com. BARRUNFORGE.com. And yes, we did hang our sign. That's something that you guys noticed up there. We got that done yesterday, so. Only 2 years behind, Ed.
So thanks to Ed. I don't know if he's in here or not, but thank you, Ed, for sure. So anyway, anything else we need to tell the fine folks? No?
Nah, sir.
All right, brother. You're on.
All right.
Got your
It's
turned on, logged in, checked out.
it's turned on. Do I have audio?
We'll double check and make sure.
Quit breaking stuff.
So,
We'll do an audio check.
should I present myself?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So,
Speak loud and proud.
All right, I'm Renan. I'm from Brazil. I started blacksmithing like 10 years ago or so, and I learned a lot from watching YouTube and also by watching Brian Brazil's videos. And then I was able to go there in Mississippi and take classes with violin. After that, I met Ed Brazil that is here, and it's been wonderful to work with him and to be able to be here in US working and teaching. So that's what I'm here for. We are having a class this weekend in Goshen School. We are teaching a TV tray class, and it's a really nice class. We punch a lot of holes and drifts, so you get good at it. And you take home with you a nice table that you can put your tools on. So it will be a lot of fun this weekend, and I hope if anyone is interested, just contact Jamie, and he will be getting your spot, you know. So we have limited spot slabs, and there you go. That's it. So I was planning on, I'm planning on making a scribe. So that's a piece of spring. I still have to uncoil. So that's what I'm be doing now. And I'm not very used to working with coke or coal. In Brazil, I use charcoal, and that's what I use from the day one that I started blacksmithing. So, but it's nice. It's good to use coal or coke, but I'm more used to charcoal anyway. And we'll be uncoiling the spring, and trying to do something with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there with the ad. I got that too on my YouTube as well. I saw the YouTube upload. Made no sense in that.
And I also like to thank Troy and you for calling us here and having the opportunity to show a little bit of our work, and it's great to have that space available and to be welcome like that. So thank you very much, Troy and Elia.
Yes.
Is that how I say?
Yeah, you got it.
All right.
He's just happy we fed him. Tried out Terry's Pizza.
Yeah, what'd you think of the food?
Yeah, I like the food. I like it. It's kind of spicy. The food that I've been eating, it's kind of spicy. In Brazil, we do like some spicy, but not where I live. Where I live, we usually don't eat a lot of spicy food, but it's good. Ed says it's good for our health, right?
That's right. We'll set up a tray you can use.
Okay. Yeah.
Pan to the
Something's wrong. Oh, why not? There's already been catastrophes.
right. Cameras have gone out. now the camera is the other.
So if anyone have a question, or just let me know that I can try to answer. I'll get Ed to answer that.
Also, I'm gonna try to get these set back up. Try to get these camera angles set back up.
So if Ed talks, people will listen, or no?
I guess so.
So Ed. Oh no. Yeah, please Ed. Yeah.
He sounded very enthusiastic about it.
Do I need to fish this up?
That's good.
Already better than 99% of people who've been on Forks Inspired. Yeah. We can undo coil spring. Oh yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You gotta add the camera over here.
Step back. Fish this around back.
So does that have the audio?
Is this live?
Okay, so, well Ed, tell us about that design. Who made it?
Brian, first one that designed these and popularized them.
And how long have you been making those TV trays?
Oh gosh.
When was the first?
I'm not sure. Probably 10 years ago, maybe? I think about 10 years ago. I'm just guessing though. I'm not really sure. But nice thing is it lays flat. Where would you want it?
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
It lays flat for, you can take it all apart, lays flat for traveling with. Holds a lot of tools. Like, I've sat on this. I've seen a guy jump up on one, stand on it, that probably weighed close to what I do. I mean, he jumped up off the ground on it. It'll hold a lot of weight, fold flat for traveling, and put a lot of tools on it.
Yeah.
That's the main purpose behind it is
Yeah. I mean, you can hang your tongs, top and bottom tools, hammers on there. Like we use it with the striking anvil system to put all kind of accessories that can go in the hardy hole of the striking anvil, like a keyed in anvil that has a slotted shank where you can drive a wedge key through it, and it makes it nice and solid, doesn't move. You can use like a 40-pound anvil that with the striking anvil, it feels like a 200-something pound anvil. And it's all over the body. The forging is done over the mast of the anvil, so you don't have any vibration like you do hammering on the horn or hill of a normal anvil. It's a great setup.
Yeah. And it's very light. It folds up, right?
Right.
So
Yeah. It'll fold flat.
that's something neat that every shop can use, you know. We'll find a use for it.
Like we made hooks to hang other tools on there, enable it to hold other stuff. Josh did one last weekend before, and came up with a little, what would you call it, a little tray that hangs underneath here. You can put all your pencils, whatever, punches, small tools that might fall off the table or get knocked off. It's cool.
And how long have you been teaching, Ed? When was the first class you
Well,
taught?
we started doing demos for groups back in '98, Brian and I together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we were teaching so much as just going and forging, and yeah, people learned a lot from what we were doing. It wasn't what they were used to seeing.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say '98, but actually teaching classes, I went to help Brian in 2013 when he helped me, or asked me to give him a hand. He was overbooked in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And so I started working with him again, doing the Tools to Make Tools class.
Nice. And a lot of the big names attended to that class, right?
A lot of them. I mean, a lot of them.
A lot of the tool makers now, they attended.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lyle Wynn has been very successful. Worked well with him.
Who else?
Traveled all over and into Canada with him.
Yeah. And who else?
Oh gosh.
Alex Steele.
Alex Steele, yeah, got his start there. He wanted to take a class with Mark Asprey, but Mark Asprey told him he's too young.
Yeah.
Brian said, "Come on over if you can," and I think actually gave him like a scholarship where he could come easier and otherwise not have been able to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he came, I think, when he's first 12 years old, going on 13, and came the next 3 years and worked with him. Started the Youngsmiths program with him, and he let him help teach some of the kids that came to train him. When you have to explain it to people, you'll learn a lot more faster, trying to put it into words and how to have people understand what you mean. Sometimes that can be a little tricky at first.
Yeah.
Somebody said Ed and Brian were the three most humble people with skills. I don't know where he got 3 out of you and Brian. I would assume so. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been 2, so that's how short those fly.
Yeah, but that's how big they are in the bin.
Yeah. I'm sure he looks up to him.
Yeah, and also that guy that makes a lot of hammers, Sergel. What is his name?
Oh, Aaron Sergel.
Aaron Sergel,
Yeah.
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 So
I know it's influenced a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, it did, including me. Nah? I wouldn't be doing what I do if it weren't for you guys, and also Lowing that kept teaching that class.
Yep.
So actually my profession now is my full-time job, and That's how I make a living. So a lot of people got influenced on that class, and what came is also after that.
Yeah, hammer making and striking in public wasn't that popular before that time. Here in America, at least, you rarely ever saw it. And now it's very commonplace.
Yeah, and also the striking anvil. You were the one that came up with the first design, right?
Well, I came up with a version of it that inspired later versions. Had a job to make 55 nails for an artist from California,
Yeah.
Mark Rodriguez. So I made one. I made actually more than one. For the 3-foot long nails, I had to make a taller version, and yeah. First thing Brian said is, "Hey, that could be a striking anvil." I said, "Exactly." I said, "You just make the legs different, put the hardy hole in a different location, and you got it."
Yeah.
And
So
unfortunately, a lot of people copied Brian's first one that he made in Mississippi that had a very narrow base. The original ones I had a 12-inch wide base so that it was more stable, because I knew we'd be doing a lot of angle blows, and a narrow base would be too tippy. It'd be wanting to rock. And we didn't have a place where we could bolt it to concrete. We were on a concrete, or we had a choice of being in sand. And neither one was a good one for it not to be tippy without a wide enough base for it to sit on, which makes the feet wider and more stable. So
yeah, and you see now people from all over the world having striking anvil at their shops. That's something that always amazed me, how popular it is right now.
it can be a lot more solid hitting on a striking anvil than some 500-pound anvils.
Yeah.
When we did the nails, the first batch of nails for the job for the artist, we started out before I made it, in fact. We did some of the smaller nails into a 2,000-pound acorn table. That thing was moving all over the concrete because it wasn't bolted to the floor. And so I made one with feet that you could bolt or pin into the ground. And I think that's one of the most important things you can do with any equipment, just like a power hammer or a lathe or something. They're always mounted to the concrete. Otherwise you have vibration and things don't happen as well.
Yeah. Loss of energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And now people are making hammers and top tools, bottom tools, striking anvils, skid anvils, rounding hammers.
Yeah, them dang right rounding hammers.
It got really popular.
Yeah. But rounding hammers have been around forever. You know, if you look at some of the old sledgehammers, they have a round face and a flat face, or a peen, whether it's a straight peen or a cross peen. But a properly ground rounding hammer has different radiuses that makes it more versatile than, say, a cross peen. Cross peen has a place, but it's usually for drawing laterally. The rounding hammer you can draw in any direction, and you have a different size fuller depending on how much you tilt the round face and present it to the material you're forging. That's why I consider it the most versatile hammer. You can do things with it you can't do with any other hammer.
Yeah, and I always like to hear when you talk about the time you spent in Ipsitz with
Yeah.
Alfred Havemann.
We
Can you
learned
tell
a
me a little bit about that? How did you got there? How did you?
Well, in 2004, and for a few years leading up to 2004, we kept hearing from a blacksmith friend of ours in California, George Janaski, who was saying, "You got to go work with Alfred. You got to go work with Alfred." And at the time, we didn't know who Alfred was, but they call him the Pope of blacksmithing in Europe because he's been such an influence there. He'd been teaching tool classes and restoration classes to restore the old ironwork in Europe for 25 years at Helfstein Castle, and traveled around the country training people, and finally got set up at Helfstein Castle where people became one of the largest blacksmithing competitions in Europe. And George Janaski was telling us, "You got to go over there and work with him, you know, you'll be blown away." And so we finally met him at a spring conference in California, and he invited us to come work there and be a part of this competition. So we couldn't really afford to do it on our own, so we traveled around the United States, went to different state chapters, got some scholarships through Urbana and several different state chapters, and did demos trying to raise money, and we made it possible. And it's one of the best things I think anyone can do is travel. It'll expand your mind and allow you to see things you won't see in your own neck of the woods, wherever you live.
So you got there.
Wonderful experience.
So you got there, and how it was?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, we got to work with teams of smiths from all over the world. I think 12 different countries. We got to forge a model for that was to be made into a larger sculpture for the city of Dresden, Austria. The Orb of Hephaestus, I think is what they called it.
You made
I could be wrong
a
on
small
that,
model for the big sculpture?
Yeah, it was like a 6-foot tall model, and then the full side was like, I think 2.5 times taller.
Wow.
It ended up being installed in the city of Ipsitz, the model did, and the main one was like 10 miles over in Dresden, Austria. So that was quite an experience. Working with people, you don't speak the same language, but you know, through just kind of hand signals and gestures, being able to understand each other and make something.
Thank you.
Unlike we'd ever made before. That was great. Wonderful experience.
So with your time of being around a bunch of people that different countries, how varying was their style of blacksmithing?
Well, there's only so much you can do, but the whole plastique style was fairly new to us. Alfred Sr.'s son had come to America for the Kentucky conference in Lexington, Kentucky. That was in 2004, Urbana conference. But for, I think it was 2 weeks before that, his son had come and daughter, Alfred Jr. and Christine Haberman, had come over, and we did a model of a sculpture that was designed by Alfred for the Urbana conference. And that was good because we got introduced to the plastique style, and that was pretty new to us. But the whole idea of plastique is showing, what metal is capable when manipulated well. And Christine, she's big into repoussé and really artistic type stuff. So it was a great experience, and just inspires you to want to learn more, do more, try more. and the importance of working with people that can help get you there faster. Yeah. And it's just enjoyable.
So I'm forging a flower now. I'm starting to forge a flower. But tell me more, and then Alfred asked you to don't follow. So Alfred asked you to stay there and work with him?
Yeah, well, that was the idea. Is we wanted to be able to stay there at least 6 months or so and get a more experience, more exposure. So we did. And the wonderful thing about Ipsitz is their mayor or burgermeister was on a council of mayors of Europe that they met with the sole purpose of promoting blacksmithing and tourism. So they make it possible. If people want to go there and forge, you can stay at what they call the Black House, or it's a 785-year-old building when we went there in early 2004 to 5. That you can pay, I think it's like $7 a night, stay there. They give you coffee in the morning, breakfast with it, very affordable. Wonderful place to stay. And they actually provide us with forges. The city owned, I think it was 6 forges that they set up for their Christmas market with covered, it's a covered protected booth that's sectioned off with little window things so you can talk to the guys in the next thing. And, the city square is just filled with people all over Europe. They have these Christmas markets, and people come there to buy forged products. It's a thing, and they provided jobs for us to be able to live and work there, and great experience. Made things we'd never be asked to make here, like these things they called Räuchenfandels that were basically incense burners. The idea was historically they used it to burn incense, with the idea being to drive the evil spirits out of the house at Christmas time. And I think we made 52 of those that got sold in the gift shops. We got to design and build it how we wanted, and their only requirement was that you put if they like your design, you put this little brass logo that shows that it's approved by the Eisenstrasse, that means the Iron Road. It's a system of museums that go across Europe that they have different stores in different places, and if you have that logo, that guarantees that it's approved by them and worthy. So we had to rivet that onto every piece we made. And got to do a lot of other things too, working with other smiths. And, like we made window grills with split and drifted holes on the diamond with square bars, 5/8 roughly, for a 700-year-old church. Did 3 of them that were about, 2 of them were 3x5, one was like 4x5. Different things like candelabras and little candle holders that, a lot of forging in them that was unlike anything either Brian or I had done before. So it was a wonderful experience for that, doing stuff that you're not used to doing. And then they wanted some of the stuff that we do, and they have gift shops that they put it in, and it was mutually beneficial. It was great.
And then Alfred was doing a lot of tool making, like for the repoussé tools, small hammers.
Well, the class we went was a King Louis the 14th, I believe it was, repoussé in steel. They had these grand gates that have real ornate work riveted on, forged into it. But a lot of the decorations are actually plate that they give life to. Acanthus leaves, all kinds of decorations. It's hard to describe. Some of them look like seashells and faces and all kinds of decorations. And the course we took was to make the tools, represent chisels, punches, fullers, texturing, dies, hammers, stakes, stake tools that go in the vise. So we learned a lot. I mean, saw a lot of stuff and learned a lot. We'd been making some hammers before we went, but nothing like we learned to do. And Alfred stressed the importance of developing the house for the handle or the eye of the hammer. That was like crucial to once you understand the proper geometry of the drift and why you need the proper geometry so that the wood stays structurally sound and tight in the handle. You got a much better tool where, you know, handles don't break or come loose in days or weeks, or maybe even a year or two, or sometimes more. But a handle can last you 10 years, and you don't see that all the time with a store-bought eye and handle.
Yeah.
Learned a lot.
And then you went back.
You don't learn it all there. You learn it by doing it and seeing what works and doesn't. So, you know, you should don't get too comfortable, you know, oh, that's good enough. You know, challenge yourself to constantly learn and do better all the time. And it's always a challenge. It's always appealing and inspiring to do more, do better, do it faster, do it easier. You know, there's all kinds of ways you can look at it, but it's all good.
So after that time, you came back to U.S.?
Yeah, I came back I had small children and our father had died. I stayed home to help Mom and my children, and Brian went back to Europe, I think for another year and a half on 2 separate trips.
Yeah.
Got to work with him a lot more and do more. And it was great. I mean, he got to make things. Some of the best paying jobs he ever did were over there, you know? And he liked it a lot. Like, I've thought about moving back there. Great community, great sense of community. I haven't felt that everywhere I've lived here in America. And the fact that, you know, there were people that would help supply you with work instead of having to struggle and find it yourself was amazing. And like at the Christmas market and different blacksmithing events, they have people that will handle the sales where you can enjoy the conference and everything, and you don't have to think about it. That was pretty cool. Some of the conferences here do a similar thing, where they just charge you like 10% or something. Quad State does that. I think anyone that can take the time to go should do it. Apply for scholarships through Urbana, through your state. And like what Troy was saying, Mike Rowe has $1.2 million available in scholarships. Yeah, I wish I'd known that before. Not for myself so much, but for people that want to take classes, you know.
So would you say Alfred was probably the most or one of the most influential smiths?
I think he has been. He's taught me and others. I mean, there's
whole
Hoffy
generation.
learned from Haberman, if you've heard of Hoffy. And the people at Hoffy's gone on and trained, Zivik Gottlieb, numerous others. I mean, Sir Sadan, he's
Yeah.
a good one that trained with Hoffy that I've worked with. There's too much to learn all by yourself in a lifetime. We're standing on the shoulders of giants that have gone before us, so to speak.
Yeah, and then you stayed there, worked, and went back to U.S. You went back shoeing,
I did.
and a lot of people doesn't.
Well, basically, I retired from my own business before I went to Europe because of an injury I got in an auto accident on the way to a shoeing appointment. But some of my friends that got hurt, I helped them out because I could, and they needed it.
Yeah. So a lot of people doesn't know that you and Brian were farriers.
That's how we got started.
Years
That's what
and years.
sparked our interest. Competing in farrier competitions, making shoes, and shoeing horses. Yeah, it makes you want to learn and make more.
Yeah.
But that was crucial, yeah, to, I think, forming us,
Yeah.
shaping our lives.
So your dad was a blacksmith too.
He was a farrier.
A farrier.
Yeah. He didn't get into the forging so much, except making the shoes he had to do to shoe horses.
Yeah. But you had a forge at the house and an anvil.
But we didn't get to use it. He wanted us to go to college.
Okay.
He didn't want us to work with our hands like he had to and struggle. But so we started going to college, and I decided it wasn't for me. I had 2.5 years of college and had planned on being a doctor of some sort. But I always liked sciences, but I like the satisfaction of working for myself, setting my own hours, not having to answer to someone else. I've had some poor experiences working for other people that we don't need to get into here, but they were unpleasant and often not justified, you know. So yeah, I strongly like working for myself, being my own boss.
And then, jumping a few years, you went to Africa, right?
Oh yeah.
When that was?
That was what, 2017, I think. We were supposed to go, like we went to California with a 4-station forge. We had 5 stations that fit in my pickup truck bed. And went out to California to do a hammer making class with a group of farriers set up by a good friend of mine. And while we were doing that class, John Williams from Sacramento area, California, called me. And he's been on the board of now the education committee for Urbana. But he asked us to come to his place, and Kelly Vermeer Velas, she's another farrier, knife maker, doing extraordinary knives. They had us come there to do some hammer and tool making classes. We did some collaring, and you know, it's mainly a hammer and tool making course, but I mean, we're showing all kinds of other stuff too. Decorative stuff, leaves, flowers, you name it. All kinds of stuff. But ended up spending 6 months there in the Sacramento area doing classes most weekends. Sometimes with people during the week. John hired Brian and I to make a forging station similar to him, or the tooling for it. And Ian Brooks with the West Coast Fly Presses. He made the forge, but it was definitely inspired by the design that we came up with and was traveling with. We did our first class in Georgia a few months before that. That was a good one. Alex still went with us there, and Matt Marty, and a guy named Paul Papadopoulos or Papados. He came with us. That was fun. Did a trivet class with a group of people and hammer making. That was well received, and everyone did real well. I mean, pardon? What's that?
Teaching classes in Southern California.
Not that are definite. I mean, like I've done some classes when I've gone back to visit my children that still live there. I have adult children that live there, and that's where I was married and had kids, and they stayed there. I came back because my mom losing dad, and I always planned on moving back here. But
Can you hold that, please?
I'll be in Arizona this spring. I believe it's April, doing a conference, and I think we're going to do a class too. We ought to be anyway. There's a plug. If we're not doing a class, we ought to be.
And then tell me about Africa.
Africa was great. Never been there before.
How did you end up there?
From John Williams, a guy named Dixon Nyagaka took our class.
Yeah.
He was a retired oil engineer, something to do with the oil industry, and went. Hey,
Yeah.
I can't do two things at once.
Yeah.
He was telling us about the number of orphans, children in Kenya. It's a real problem, and he was concerned about the crime because there's no jobs for them. It's all agricultural mostly, and it's a real struggle for people financially. So he came to America with the idea of bringing back something that he could train people with to provide more opportunities and jobs for. He said there's like 43 children for every family that could potentially adopt. So that, you know, there's no way they're going to be taken care of. They run the streets and turn to crime. And he didn't want to see that for his country. So he came. He was real interested in finding a blacksmith that he could get to come there, and he didn't until. But what he found was Pacific Coast Horseshoeing School, and he took a horseshoeing course of all things. And from there, through John and Kelly, we met him. He came to the course. He liked what he saw. He did really well. He had really good aptitude for it. I've seen very few people that took to it like he did. And after about 2 days of working with us, he asked if we'd be interested in coming to Kenya, and he'd like to open a school. And we both said yes. It sounded really interesting. We'd love to do it. And then he started talking to us, well, you know, we can't get tools like this in Africa. And if they do, they're really expensive. You know, could I buy your stations? And we worked out an agreement where we sold him our stations, and he had them shipped there. We thought we'd be going there within like 2 months and it ended up being like closer to a year because of shipping problems and you know, just arranging to get that over in a container.
Yeah. And to consider for a second that the shipping is a cheaper and better option than trying to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he was able to ship it in someone else's container for free.
Ed?
So yeah, it was way better.
Yeah.
So,
You want that off?
do you like that?
Not yet.
Did you like that?
Oh, this.
There in Africa? How it was?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get his documentation through the country of Kenya in order to where we were able to do the classes that we hoped to do and train people. But we made another contact with an American from Ohio, Sugar Creek Forge, Tim Troyer. His parents were missionaries in Uganda. And he was aware of what we were trying to do. Came to visit us in Kenya and asked if we'd be willing to come to Uganda and work with the guys at Bomba Forge, which it's a knife making forge. They also have a bandsaw mill. They provide lumber for people, and basically they're orphans or homeless people that didn't really have any opportunity, and he basically bringing in American smiths and to help train them to make knives and stuff, and they're doing a good job. But same thing, a lot of these countries can't afford to import quality tools. So he asked if we'd come there and work with them, teach them how to make tools. So we spent 3 weeks with them, and he just called me again this past spring and wanted me to come back. So I'm hoping to go there soon. I just gave him a call recently to see if we can set that up.
Yeah.
I say you can't get me talking.
Yo, I'm working. I'm working. You are just holding a bar.
Yeah.
You can't hold and talk at the same time.
Yeah, I can't hold a bar and talk. I can keep it off the anvil when I should.
It's harder to make from coil spring. It's a lot more time. It's tougher, yeah?
Is that coil?
Coil,
Well,
yeah, I just unbent it.
I got the mild in the truck.
I want to make a scribe.
Split it, jump it in.
Yeah. So and then after Africa, you went to Brazil.
Oh yeah.
There it is.
Well, we gave up going to Australia so we could go to Brazil.
Yeah.
He sent Brian or Alec to let Alec take over going to Australia because Brian felt it was more important to go work with someone like Hanan that showed so much promise.
Yeah.
And he had the will where he got us there. He bought us our plane tickets, and that's not easy. That's a big thing, a big step that let us know he was really serious about learning, and I'm glad we did. He's okay once you get to know him.
I'll fly to Brazil if you give me a plane ticket.
Yeah.
I will too.
Don't tell me.
Yeah, so we spent 6 months with Renan in Brazil.
Yeah.
One of the best times of my life.
Yeah.
Lifelong friends.
Yeah. And then we are here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So the forge took you very far in the world.
Who
right?
would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not me, that we'd be doing what we're doing today.
An Alaskan boy traveling all
Yeah.
around the world,
Yep.
teaching forging.
Brian always said, you know, this blacksmithing could take us all around the world, and I used to think, oh yeah, right, yeah, right. Yeah, but it has. It really can. Anything you're passionate about, like what you were saying earlier. If you're passionate about it, you know, there's no limits.
All you got left is Asia and Antarctica.
Yeah. Well, I still want to go to Australia.
Yeah.
Japan, China. Yeah, China was talking to us about coming to China while we were over in Africa, Tanzania. There were numerous. I think Taiwan wanted us to come.
It's good to see Ed Brazier again. The name is
The name was changed to protect the guilty.
So did you contact them?
Who?
How did they get you?
Yeah, well, just when I started forging in 2012 or 13, I just came across a video of Brian forging tongs, and that video is still amazes me. It's how he forged and how he moved the material. That drove me crazy trying to learn, because at the beginning I did not have any technique or professor or classes at all. So, and at that time there weren't many YouTube videos. Just a few, and Brian's videos also was there.
And they were good videos.
And they were the best. I think they still are the best. So, and then I sent an email to Brian and we started talking, and I wanted a hammer, but that was too expensive for me at that time.
So what do you say?
So
I'll make them myself.
Yeah. And then
Has been forging.
And then I spent months trying to make the first tools to be able to make the first hammer. But then I just sold the first hammer I made, the second, and then I decided that I was going to be a blacksmith, and I started to working and selling and making stuff, making my tools. I need a wood.
I'll have to get it out of the van.
Or here.
A block of wood, or
block of
here's
wood
a stump.
With a hole on it.
There's some wood. Yeah. It looks like he's been using that 2x4.
Here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
There you go.
It's here already.
Want me to hold that for you?
So then, but I never had the money to go to take Brian's classes. But then in 2015, I was able to go there, and I took Klaus' class, and that was a huge step on me. And then when I came back to Brazil, I just started to teach that class, the Tools Make Tools class, because there were no one teaching blacksmithing that time in Brazil. So there were farriers teaching, but it's different. That won't work. Hold it, please. It's too hard.
Yeah.
Let me.
That
take a
doesn't do
look.
much either.
Oh, we got another heat.
Spring.
And then I started to teach, and people came from all over Brazil there, up there in the north of Brazil. That's where I lived, in a state called Ceará. And I kept teaching classes and making tools and hammers. And since 2015, I'm doing that. So that's a full-time job for me in my profession. That's all I know how to do now, you know. So
What about the singing?
Oh no, that's just
That's just for girls.
yeah. I'm glad you got it. It's not doing anything, right?
Not really. It's getting a little bit of, yeah.
Let's
That's
do another.
better. That's better.
Another. One more.
All right.
And then last winter, Brian called me. He sent a ticket, and then I came to the U.S. and stayed with him and Ed. We worked a lot. We went to Texas, went back to Oklahoma, and then we came to Ohio to teach the classes in Goshen. It was a great experience. The cold was winter, and it was hard here last winter.
Yeah.
But
He saw his breath for the first time.
Yeah, we got through that, and we taught the class. The classes was great. A lot of people attended, and it still drive my passion to teach, and it's something I really appreciate doing. Not just making hammers anymore. That's not. I made too many already, so.
The school at Goshen is such a neat thing, and
Yes, it is. Yeah, and then we went to Paul Doris's Arkansas Horseshoeing School and did a weekend down there with the farriers
Yeah,
after that.
it was great. We are probably going back there
Yeah,
again.
we're talking about doing something
Yeah.
the 14th there again.
And also at Louisiana, right?
Yep. John Perilou in Louisiana is talking to us about coming down there the last weekend of October.
So it's very challenging to teach blacksmithing to different crowds and different people with different backgrounds, having at one class 11 years old or 10 years old and 73 years old, like that farrier, right?
Yeah.
Retired farrier. It was great. It's challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging. Pick up the words and know what to say and how to say, and when don't say anything and let them figure it out. That's a challenging. It's challenging. It's been great. So I will rush here so I can finish, and Ed can do also something here.
take your time.
So what? You guys go until what time here usually?
Whenever.
Okay.
So we're done.
Okay.
Till you tap out.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a few hits from finishing this. Just need to make a taper. I'm making a scribe with a flower on the end. And that's coil spring, so it's tougher. a lot tougher than the regular mild steel. In Brazil we use a lot of 1020, so it's really soft, softer than the mild steel here.
Really?
Because here's, I think it's A36.
Yeah, yeah, it has a higher carbon content and alloys where they're 1020. You know, it's lower carbon, doesn't have the alloys in it.
Right.
So it's super soft and it's great to forge stuff from that, you know. But it's different. Here, when I get here and start using A36, I split a lot of stuff because it doesn't give too much as the 1020 does. So it's not.
Angle it.
You'll get there.
Yeah. He's used to having a keyed in anvil. I
Yeah.
can tell.
Exactly.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does a lot.
Can't reach across.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally just popped up for a stall.
Oh, so there's comments.
Right on top of it. Only had one that was labeled as skip, the other one was just like non-skippable ads. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I'm sorry for whoever missed it because of ads.
Kind of needed it.
Yeah. See what's going on. Another ad I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Gotta have some ads.
Pay the bill.
Yeah, that's right.
Hopefully that pays the bill.
Yep.
I wish.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah. Till we get up there and get it, you know, Squarespace and Great Shadow Legends.
Right.
Kenny, to answer your question, I posted up on Barr Forge's story today. That's got all of their Josh, Ed, and Renan's Instagram. It's probably the best place to find you guys. Everybody on there, Instagram.
It's not hot enough.
Oh, did I lose the mic? Did we lose all the mics? A little bit of dead air going on right now. Let's check and see if the mic is back up.
So what are you going to forge, Ed? When I'm done.
Path forward.
There you go.
What?
Path forward. He's gonna forge a path forward.
I think about a bottle opener.
Nice.
Or, you know, maybe a poker, matching poker. Unless you want to do the poker.
No, no. That's better.
Have a complete set if we do a poker.
Yeah, I don't get used to.
Gas forge is used much in Brazil.
Yeah, like the south of Brazil in São Paulo, people use most gas forges because charcoal or coke are expensive there. Where I live, gas is expensive for us, and we get access to charcoal pretty cheap. So that's what I used. That's what I used from day one, and that's what I'm still using. You just get used to it. It's like any other fuel. I use the gas a little bit, but I don't like it. I prefer charcoal.
Yeah,
And,
the charcoal got plenty hot. It was nice. I hadn't worked with charcoal a lot before going there, but it worked really good. I was amazed at how clean your forgings would be compared to, you don't get the scaling like you do with this.
Now, literally, my first fire was charcoal. I had no access to coal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an eye-opener for me. Just like, his hammers are beautiful. You don't see the scaling and the texture like we see using coal or coke.
almost there.
Very nice.
Almost there.
Probably within a week or so of that, I'm forging that 5-pound hammer using charcoal.
Cool. Dig it.
And I miss charcoal because it gets particular smells, the wood, and the smell of the wood there. So it's something I really appreciate using it. And I wake up in the morning, make my coffee, light up the forge, and the shop is filled with that smells of the wood.
Yeah.
I think we all dig that.
Yeah.
So, Ed, you got a question in the chat here about why you like the keyed anvils over just traditional style anvils.
Part of it is its versatility and how solid it is, and the fact that I don't have to carry 2 anvils and 2 stands when I travel doing demos and teaching. I had to have hernia surgery this past spring, so you know my little 40-pound keyed in anvil will perform like a 200-pound anvil when it's keyed into the striking anvil. It takes up less room in my vehicle.
Yeah.
And much easier to transport.
And also have a...
The fact that it's 2 inches wide can work to your advantage. I only like a big wide face if I'm doing a large tool or large forgings, say architectural work, where I need that larger table-like surface. But for doing your average forging, if you're going to use the edges and divide it up, the narrow face works to your advantage because you can get work closer together between your divisions. Say if you're doing a 2-sided taper on the near or far edge and want to do another one, that 2 inches allows you to do it and reach across it much better than say a 3 or 4 or 5 inch face.
Yeah.
And I have keyed in attachments that are like 1 inch wide. If I need it smaller, I could make smaller ones if I need it.
Yeah.
It's just so versatile. I mean, and part of it was a way also to show people that you don't need a big, fancy, expensive anvil. And you know, if you're on a budget, you can make them yourself, and they function just as well. It'll also teach you a lot about forging. The mild steel face will mar if you're hammering stock that's either hardenable steel or work hardened. It'll start marring the face. That should be an indicator that you need to heat it up and hammer more effectively, get your work done sooner.
Yeah.
Because you can do it in less blows if you keep a higher heat.
Yeah.
And I've seen from teaching people that have never forged that when they grasp that concept, they start learning to recognize proper heats. And okay, instead of just continuing to be on cold steel, they say, oh, I'm messing the anvil up. Especially if you give them a hard time about it a little bit, jokingly. They get that message real quick, and then it just becomes part of their knowledge base where they're working more efficiently in a much shorter time than, say, you got a hardened steel face where you never see that.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it gets damaged, you can repair it. Oftentimes just by hammering it back and filling it in. If it needs to be really repaired from a big damage, you can weld it easily, unlike some anvils that you don't know or maybe aren't a very skilled welder. It makes it very doable for someone on a budget and without a lot of technical knowledge. User friendly.
Yeah.
Like, do we have video here?
Yeah.
That anvil?
Yep.
Or right here.
Yeah.
Here, maybe. What Ed is talking about is that I made a flower, and there's a thin part between the flower and the bar. So how do I reach that with my hammer without marking the flower or the bar? So with a smaller anvil, like here, I can reach and forge the middle without disturbing the point or the bar. So that's why also this horn, we have the square horn. But if we have a very small table anvil, very thin, you can reach and make kind of ring, very small ring on the anvil without any tool at all, just using your hammer. So that's one of the features of using
A narrow
face.
Show them
anvil.
how if you put the shoulders that are closest to your hand on top of the anvil and you hammer it, you're going to bend it.
Yeah.
And what happens then?
If I hammer here, it will bend, and that kind of bend will end up breaking the penis part. So that's what. If I hammer here, you see, that's a two-side shoulder. So it's coming out from the side of the bar, not coming out on the middle of the bar or the center. So if I hammer here, I will create a stress point and we'll end up breaking that. Also, I will disturb the flower. So that's why I was chasing, going back and forward and using this horn. But that horn, when you hammer, it doesn't back you up. It doesn't forge a lot. It makes a lot of noise, but doesn't move the material as you have here, the mass beneath it. So that's one of the reasons of using a narrow anvil for some work, you know. I'm not saying that you can do all work there, but most of the work we end up doing can be done in a narrow anvil.
Yeah. We're not saying it's the best way or the only way.
For me, it's also like forging that big anvil, for me, it's hard because I'm short, I'm small, and if I want to use that corner, I have to
lean over. That's hard to do all day.
And to hammer. And doing that, I can't hammer my full hammer blow. It's kind of awkward and so now I forge the flower and I will cut it here and that's it. That's done. The scribe. It's made from coil spring, so should scribe good. And that's it. And that's now will be Ed's.
Very nice.
Ed's turn.
Oh, I'll have to get stocked before you.
All right, before you guys go any further, I have a special presentation. To all three of you, before we go any further.
All right.
All right. Our own bag of Grippos.
Own bag of Grippos. From us to you, Grippos all around. Grippos.
The best barbecue chip in the country.
With fun.
We only eat Grippos. These are really good.
Get a grip. You grab the Grippos.
Those are amazingly good.
Yeah, I think they're fans of the Grippos.
What's that?
Still make sure you guys had those.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll enjoy that. I'll put them on my dash so I don't forget them while I find my stock.
Says everyone knows Grippos goes with fun.
So we had a question. What kind of wood would be the predominant wood for charcoal where you're from?
Well, where I'm from, we use a wood called three woods to make the best charcoal I got are made from those three woods. It's made from Jurema, Sabiá, and Marmeleiro.
There's a quiz on this later.
You won't get that wood here.
Yeah.
I bet. But
you're telling me that's not found in North America?
Yeah, no, they're not. And also, Marmeleiro, Jurema, yeah, that's it. And Sabiá. Those three woods are the best woods I get there for making charcoal. But I don't make my own charcoal. I usually buy. But most of Brazil, people have access to a wood called eucalipto. I think it's Australian wood, Australian tree, and they grow that a lot in south of Brazil because it grows very fast, and they do that. But not where I live. Where I live, we have that wood is natural from where I'm at. It's called Jurema, Marmeleiro, e Eucalipto. But that's from that region.
So another question we had was, what would you say is the hardest part of being a blacksmith in Brazil?
Yeah, it's very, very different from blacksmithing here. Like here you see a lot of forge councils, groups, conference, associations. There we don't have any at all. So we have Farrier Association, one, but not blacksmithing association. So kind of everything is hard. You don't have a community. That's the biggest thing I see. We don't have a community, so we don't gather to forge together. So all that I did in blacksmithing in Brazil was kind of by myself, alone, at my shop, making the tools. I'm trying to change that, but it's hard when we are doing all by ourselves, you know. I have to forge and buy material and cheap hammers and teach classes and travel. I'm still finishing up my shop in Brazil. I have a big hammer there, but it's not running yet, so that's what is happening. But lately, two former students that took classes with me there, they created 2 blacksmithing schools in São Paulo. So I went there teaching a few times, and it's great. The school is just starting out, but it's a joy to go there and see that what you taught is being taught, retaught again. So that's kind of, and I'm leaving in November 1. I'll be flying from Oklahoma to São Paulo to teach a class there. So I'm kind of far from the south of Brazil, São Paulo. So that's also a problem, a difficult that I have. Brazil is a continental country, so it's almost the size of U.S. So to travel around, to drive around, it's very difficult. I've done that, but it takes like from where I am to São Paulo, driving my VW van that I got not long ago. To do that, I took at least 6 days of driving. Because the roads are not very fast, and you have a lot of trucks, and they are two-way roads, so you can't go fast. So that's what happened. But it's changing. It's changing. With everything's happening, it's starting to get known, and people are taking classes and putting their money on that. So that's what we need, I think. You know?
Yeah.
And that's it. My scribe is ready. I just need to sharpen. And put a finish on it. Do we have that oil rag? It's this?
There's a paper one, yeah.
If it's got any left on it or not.
Yeah, it'll probably work. It's good enough for hanging on. He'll make it work.
I don't know.
Nice. Nice finish. Comes quick. Thank you, sir.
Yep. You got enough?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. All right.
Very nice.
Very good. Your turn, Uncle Ed.
Uncle Ed. Yep, bring it up here up to the camera so they can see it. Right in this area right here.
I don't think he heard you. They want you to show the camera.
Show us the camera.
Okay, sorry.
Is it hot still?
It probably is. Well, that,
It's
Right
here?
here.
Okay.
No, come
Right here. Yeah, you have to come
around.
right here.
Come around and there you go.
I couldn't
Right
understand.
there. There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Good stuff.
Let's describe.
Very nice. Good stuff.
All right. How did you turn this off?
As far as anvils go, from where you're from, do you guys do like what they teach with the keyed-in anvils, or do you guys find old anvils, or? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You don't have to reach for it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Not really. That's the, somebody said they couldn't hear you. I don't know. Yes, if you don't mind. I didn't realize you unplugged
I
it.
wondered about that. I'm like, are you expecting him to be heard right now? Or?
So, what did you ask? What was the question?
Okay, for anybody who didn't catch it, I asked predominantly what anvil, if they use the Brian Brazil's method of making the keyed-in anvils and the striking anvils, or if they had access to traditional anvils like we have.
Yeah, well, we have access there, but the anvils are expensive. It's getting more and more expensive, and I don't see a point of bankrupting and trying to get 10 anvils to have a school. So what I've done was, while Brian and Ed was there, we made 3 striking and keyed anvils, and then when they left, I made 6 more. So those 3 stay at my shop. They are bigger, and the 6 small ones I take away when I'm traveling, and I made them shorter, lower, and lighter, so I can put in my VW van and take it out by myself. And also for teaching kids and teenagers, that's the main focus on it. And also the striking anvil, the key anvil, is the neat design that you can, very versatile, that you can do most of the work. I usually don't make, I never grab my old anvil and forge on it, because everything I need is there. If I need a bigger surface to forge on, I just take the keyed anvil and forge on the striking anvil, and you have that big flat face to work. And there you can also put and adapt many different tools. So that's all that I use there. I don't have even a swage block.
Yeah.
Swage block are really expensive down there.
Really?
And sometimes I don't see a point if I can make a harder tool. And that's what I've been doing for all this time, you know. So Ed, just about to start.
It's hot.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, I'm just going to make some flat stock out of this. Show you how you can use the edge to resize some stock. Yeah, and it's sparking hot a little bit. Good radius, and then I'll just feed it, turn it. Bite-sized chunks that I know I can get down to a fairly uniform thickness easily. Stop when I run out of heat, and then I'll use the flat face where it becomes more of a bar instead of lumpy and bumpy. And I basically have a 5/16 by 5/8 bar, roughly.
I think you got him sold on your toes.
And I noticed a lot of you guys, and they'll hear me, and working from the side or the end of the anvil.
Yeah.
You want to talk to that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. Haberman and Hoffy talked about this a lot. If you stand like a farrier does, basically, you know, most of it's light shaping, and, you know, unless you're forging the shoes completely but from scratch. But mostly we're working diagonally across the face, and a lot of blacksmiths do that too. What happens when you do that, if you're trying to draw a taper and you hit diagonally across your steel, if your blow isn't flat, you're going to hit harder on one end of it or the other, and that's going to twist your steel. It's a helical blow. It's one way I heard someone put it years ago. But you're drawing diagonally, so it's going to be more apt to hit harder, forge one side of it longer than the other, and it's going to twist easier. If you stand in line with the faces, you can see those edges to hit a more accurate edge blow. You're also hitting more squarely across the steel, which will tend to draw it out straighter and more effectively. And it works for both sides. More ergonomic. Hoffy really stressed this, which he got that from Haberman. And It took me about 3 years to retrain myself from being a farrier and working 25 years doing it diagonally across there. You get good at it. You do get good at it doing it, but you know, that's from doing it every day. But I found out my accuracy and everything, and doing more difficult forgings, I could do it much more effectively if I just get in line with the faces. So I'm going to do a little horse head on here with the round face. And it's all about judging your proportions and not letting it slip. There's one. Now, I think my sharp edge was over here. And then I'll do the chin, the back of the jaw, I should say, about as wide, long as it is wide, is my goal. And I can just keep hitting in the same spot till it thickens up enough, and then draw that down. And it'll swell a little bigger, so I got to check it back. And then I'll turn it towards the faces, and that'll make it kind of swoop up into the back side of the jaw. If I bring it over here to the near edge and reset that, same thing. I turn it towards the face where that corner is being driven into it. And it adds just a little nice detail, a little extra something to it. Gives it more depth. Yeah. And then if I had my punches already chosen, I could lay this out at a cold heat with no problem, no damage. I got an eye that's basically a square taper with the corners rounded off. Same thing with the nose, except you use a chainsaw file on one side, round off one of the corners. A chisel and a fuller. And I like to lay them out in the order I'll use them. And sometimes I'll use kind of a teardrop shaped one to enhance the nose, or not nose, the ear. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Mark.
I'll go ahead and give
Mark
it a
actually
heat.
talked about similar to what you were talking about, and he actually has a corner of one of his hammers that is mushroomed out because of working from the diagonally. He invested himself so much to hitting that spot.
Yeah.
I don't think that there is one corner of his hammer that is actually mushroomed.
Yeah, you'll wear hammers out if you're using them a lot. I've had to regrind or replace hammers many times as a farrier. A lot of it's from hitting the punches. The scale is much more abrasive and harder than the material below it. It's just, you know, it's very abrasive. So I'll use the front of the jaw as a guide for my eye. And I put the nose before the mouth because if I get a little bit off with my mouth, I may not have room for my nose. And it'll swell out. Gives me a little more wiggle room. Then I'll use the back of the jaw for my ear. And I can use my teardrop shape here to enhance the ear. If it was placed a little better anyway. And if you're going to bend the neck, it's best to do the near the ear and the, whether you full or chisel after you do the bend, because when you bend it, it stretches it and then it looks kind of funky. But for something like this, I don't really have to bend it a lot. So I'll go ahead and mark it cold. Now if I'm going to make a bottle opener, I could use a longer one that's closer to the size. Or what can make it easier, especially if you're just beginning and maybe not hitting real hard or is confident, you can use a smaller one that'll penetrate faster, deeper, easier. So I'll show it with the small one. And the important thing is just, take your time laying it out. And at a colder heat, which, that's hotter than it needs to be, but like at a black heat, you can really see it well. So I'll take my time to look, see if I have it, and I'll tip it towards that end, see if I like it. Not hit it too hard. That way if I have to move it, I can, just like when you drill a hole. And I'll tip it back towards me for the near side. And then I could just go for that. Or if, I need a longer slot, I can just walk it in to whatever length. And I want to be able to forge the wall, so I'm going to not make a big hole that opens up just from using a drift to open it. I'm going to forge the sides of the wall of the hole, which will lengthen it. And I can go with a smaller slot, and it gives me a better end effect. And like with doing a small one like this, it'd be better to not even do the face at all yet. Do the work, because it'll get scaled up. And I'll have to go back into it with my tools just to clean up the scale and the texture the heat gives it. Usually I have some wax or something handy to cool my punch, but you got some water here.
Is the water okay?
Yeah, that'll be fine. I hit the back side with my round face, and then I go back in with my punch so that when I turn it over, it gives me a nice outline of where I need to place my punch again. You can see it very clearly when you do it that way. Takes a lot of the guesswork out of it. I'm hoping you get a good hole. Let's see it. There's my slug. And there's a little bit where I didn't go all the way to the end. And you don't have to punch it over a hole, because that slug acts as a cushion. If you don't hit too hard, yeah, that sheared out the last little piece without damaging my punch. Now I'll have an undersized slot opener, because it'll go in easily without cooling off the walls of the hole appreciably. Since I don't have my drifts, I'll just use a slot punch to get it opened where I could, hopefully I got a small enough round in here to open it up, and I do. I'll have to use one and then I'll go to a bigger one. But normally I have a can of all different sizes of drifts. Flat ones for initially opening up the slot, and then a full-size round one to go to whatever finish size I'm punching for. And if I go from side to side of the hole, front and back, I can kind of protect the bottom surface from being too badly damaged in any given area. And I try and get it off before it turns black. That way my heat comes back and I get more done per heat. And it's cold. I'll go ahead and open it bigger so I don't have to be moving back and forth. And I'll try and alternate sides where I'm straightening as I drift. So I was paying attention to which side it was bowing. And the drifting tends to straighten it. You will get a little deformation, but as long as you check it back before it gets too pronounced, it's all good. It can almost disappear. Now I'll go to this bigger hole because I don't want to run out of hole depth. This is where the mop can come in real handy. Like a lot of times I'll cool off the backside of my fire, or depending on the size of my pot, touch the nose to the backside. It'll act as a heat sink and prevent it from overheating and burning where it's smaller there at the tip of the nose. I'm going to go back over my face and then mark it. If I have enough heat, I'll go ahead and cut it off. And but by hitting the backside, I can get a real nice smooth effect on the bottom, on the good side. And I'm just going to mark it because I could tell if I keep doing that, it's going to booger that up. That's not a hardened hardy. You know, there's two different camps on hardies, whether to harden them or not. A lot of it depends on what you're going to do. If I want a cold cut, I want a hardened one. If I'm hot cutting, I don't want it hardened. If I cut through unexpectedly soon, I don't cut nicks in my face of my hammer. I'd rather damage the cheaper tool than the more expensive tool. Same thing with anvils and hammers. Hammers should be softer than your anvil, so you don't damage the more expensive tool as easily.
Yeah.
Yep. This has a pretty good sized rag. Would be best to. Oh, that's a nice sharp rasp. I could still do a horse or two with that one.
I have some horse people friends.
Yeah. It's grabby. Yeah, normally I'd go to a vise, but then take that off. But I'm not used to having that sharper rasp in my shop anymore. Now that I'm not chewing. So we'll get these off just so they're not falling. And I found a 1-inch drift is a good size for a bottle. It will grab it nicely without breaking the bottle. Actually, usually I have a smaller one for actually doing that part, but I think it's in a different holder. It's got a good round bottom.
This one?
That'll work. Yeah. It's quite a bit smaller. It'll penetrate a lot easier too. And I'll just mark it, get a good heat, and do it hot. There we go. Because it's so thin, I don't want to point it down in the fire and get the tip hot, you know, the edge, the thin edge. So I'm trying to place it level in the fire. Get an even heat further back, easier. See, it's not hot enough here. So, a mop or the water bucket, heat control. Little things like that can make your life so much easier. And I found that if I lift up and get a little bit of an arc in there, it'll get up underneath the bottle cap easier with a little bit of bend to this. Also makes it easier to grab off the table when you're in a hurry.
In case you're in a hurry.
Yeah.
It is usually in a hurry.
Yeah.
I won't tell you why. I'll let Ed tell you that story.
What story?
Why'd you change the headband, Ed?
Oh. Beware the mucus.
Got enough on the rag to do that, or?
I think so. Enough for this crowd. No, it's nice. That puts a nice black finish on there. I think there's enough soaked into it, no problem. And it smells so nice too.
Yeah.
Yep. We'd put that under hoof pads on horses for sore-footed horses. It toughens. And pine tar for sore-footed ones also. But it's more softening. And normally I'd let that air cool, but for this, I'll just go ahead and cool it. The finish stays on there better if you air cool it.
Yeah.
It can pop like paint. Can peel if it's too hot when you cool it. Normally, if you let it cool a little bit, don't do it too hot, it's not a problem. But
Boom. 9 o'clock on the dot. Finished it great.
woohoo!
Hooray!
There's for your L8.
Oh, for Ale8.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yay.
Very fitting for Kentucky.
Oh, I guess that's twist off, but
What's that?
I got one on.
Oh, okay.
Here. Where did I put that?
Nobody has to know it's a twist off for Ale8. Just use a bottle of thing.
Yep. If you don't tell them, they might not notice.
Exactly.
I am. We're going to.
Just drop it?
No, that was my razor knife.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounded
Kind of
like
made
it
me
was
squirm a little bit too.
That was an expensive drop.
This is the one I gave you, right?
One of them, yeah. Beauty. Well, you got me? No, you don't have to scamper off. Huh?
I believe so.
Okay.
I got a delay, so I don't know if. Yep, you're right.
We want to just take a moment and thank you guys so much for a wonderful evening and for some really cool foraging, sharing, more than anything, just to hang out and share. I mean, we've had a great time just being together. And, you know, we've talked a lot about this. This is more what we really enjoy about smithing in the community, is just being together with other smiths, talking about it, and also doing some foraging in the process. Somehow we actually do pull off some foraging. I didn't today. I've been fighting a couple things off, but these guys, it's just a wealth of knowledge and just so much fun to be around. And nobody's ear got licked.
That's true.
So that's good. There's a story that goes with that. But we are absolutely blessed to have you guys in with us, to have you guys in here with us. It's just been an absolute pleasure. And there's not a whole lot more I need to say. You come in and you watch these guys do work like this. You know, we'll say small and simple stuff, but if it were small and simple, everybody'd do it, right? So we just thank you guys for that. We thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with us. And I think probably just Eli will be back next Thursday to hang out with you guys. I will already be in Metamora, Indiana by that time. Thank you for being patient with us for we got our technical difficulties out of the way too.
Hey, but they got an extra hour of a stream, so.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I looked around at Josh and I said, this is not typical. I mean, we have a few that happen every once in a while, but this, I mean, we couldn't get the fire going. The microphones goofed up. The cameras were disappearing. It was crazy. It's almost like somebody didn't want this stream to happen. And even we got commercials over the top of our stream we don't normally have. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Eli, hit them with the whole stuff that they need to do, and then we'll kick them out the door, okay?
You guys want to hop up on screen to everybody?
Yeah, come on up here.
Give a warm goodbye to.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Josh, come on up here. We have a thing that we normally do, like when I'm telling everybody, like words of wisdom that I offer to the people, and we do what you know what a dad knee is. You know, like when dad puts his knee up on something and he does it lean like that, and he's about to give you some wisdom. So I'm going to offer you guys a dad knee spot if you just want to throw the knee up there, do a dad knee. Come on in, everybody join in. There you go. A 4-person dad knee for the evening.
Album. It looks like an album cover.
It does look like an album cover. Who's playing bass? That's what I want to know. That's the bass player? That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
Eli,
goodness.
give them the info.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Absolutely. Yeah, somebody we'll get that framed and put that in the shop here.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Check us out, Facebook and Instagram, TikTok and Rumble. Thank you for stopping here at YouTube. Be sure to do all the things. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted every single time we have new content coming out. And, of course, check out the website, www.barrunforge.com, BARRUNFORGE.com. Guys, thanks so much. God bless. Take care. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.